Call to order the Whatcom County Council meeting for October 13th, 2015. Present are myself, Rud Browne, Buchanan, Mann and Brenner, and we have tonight absent Weimer, Satpal, Sidhu and Kremen, and I'd just like to read an explanation for each of these. Weimer is being honoured tonight at the White House this evening for his work with community, industry and regulatory groups alike to improve pipeline safety and his successful efforts in advocating for greater transparency and stronger pipeline safety regulations at the local, state and federal level. We should all be pretty proud of Carl for his recognition for that. Satpal is attending a session with the United States Secretary of Agriculture Tom Vilsack and Congressman Susan Bilbeni tonight discussing Whatcom County farming and berry export issues, and Pete Kremen has been called out of town on an urgent personal matter. So you have what you have tonight is what could be best described as council light. So would you all join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Announcements, please remember to turn off your cell phone. If you will be handing out any paperwork to council members, I'd ask that you give a copy to our clerk down the front here. And from the committee of the whole, we just came out of a discussion with the Parks and Recreation staff regarding the potential property acquisition for park purposes. Now, the first item up on the agenda is the minutes. And do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move approval. Second.
Mr. Mann moves approval with a second from Mr. Buchanan. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
I got a question.
Sorry, Ms.
Are we supposed to say the dates on the record, or does it matter?
Good point. Yeah. Okay. So the meetings we are going to vote on are the Special Committee of the Whole for May 26, 2015, the regular County Council meetings for May 26, 2015, and the regular County Council meetings for July 7th. We have a motion to approve and it's been seconded. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. 4-0, sorry. Yeah, 3-0 would be a problem. Next item is open public session. If we have anybody who'd like to come down and speak at the open public session, you have up to 3 minutes to address the council on any issue relevant to county business. Before you begin to comment, please state your name and topic of interest for the record. If your last name is something more than Smith or Jones, please spell it for the clerk, and please make sure you speak into the microphone. Please stand behind the signs located in the aisles as a courtesy to other speakers. Thank you for your cooperation. We'll start off with Mr. Petrie.
Hello, my name's Clayton Petrie. I live in Bellingham. I'm here with Cal Leenstra. We delivered a letter to you yesterday about a settlement proposal for the Hearings Board Challenge from 2010 on the 2009 action. And I wanted to just kind of run through a couple of the highlights. It's a very minimal proposal that adds 1/8 square mile of area back into UGA status. The access point would be Governor Road, not U Street, if this were the case, to the land. And I think that alleviates a lot of the concern that people have had in the past about impacts to U Street and having to improve it to city standards, because it wouldn't be impacted as far as access or being in the UGA. Also, this is only coming up because of a time thing. These sorts of things take several months to process, and basically we don't think that we can get any more extensions and move things out further, as we have been doing all along during the comprehensive plan update process. So it's not really something that it's not an aggressive move. It's more of a time thing. I think there's a lot of benefits, and I'd like you to speak with your staff about some of these. But, the whole legal process can be avoided if we can come to some sort of settlement agreement. And I believe that there's a few things in the what's called a PFR that would be fairly complicated for you to fix. One of them is ag lands inside of UGAs without a TDR program, or just there's a variety of things. You guys have all seen the challenge, and nobody really wants to unwind that whole thing and go fix these issues because you have a new process coming up that you haven't really had much of a look at yet, but you will soon. So that's probably about the 3 minutes. But if you have any questions, Cal is here, and he'd be happy to answer any questions. I can answer any questions you might have as well. And yes, we will be talking to the city and working with them as well. But you're the decision body, and we wanted to bring this up with you first, and kind of kick things off that way. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Petrie. Mike McCauley.
Mike McCauley. I have my Port Commission hat on tonight, which is a bit of a dirty one. The last name is MCAULEY. And I want to say thank you for the very robust conversation that this body had in regards to our request for the EDI funding for All-American Marine Expansion. And I think that's Rob presented all of this to all of you earlier today, or at least in the past. And hopefully all the points have been made quite clear about the need that we have for the funding. So I just want to say thank you for that very robust conversation. Some hard questions were asked. I hope that we've answered all of them clearly and to your satisfaction. And if I can answer any questions for you all while I'm here tonight, just ask. But with that, I just want to say thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. McCauley.
Okay.
Is there anybody else? Yep, please step forward.
Good evening to members of council and also to residents of Whatcom County in attendance. My name is Trish Favrina, and I greatly appreciate your time in listening to my position and the claim that I have against the Whatcom County Sheriff's Office. I think you've been made aware of it this week. In 2012, my one-year-old cash purchase SUV was illegally sold by J.R. Edwards, a towing service operator in Whatcom County. My SUV was, as he was repeatedly informed by myself and two BC law firms via phone calls, evidence in a legal case due to illegal aftermarket wiring, and my SUV also contained a great deal of legal evidence in a very serious obstruction of justice complaints that's been filed in the Justice Department since 2012. It includes attempted murder, illegal alteration of university transcripts to lower grades from a 4.0 GPA to C's, B's, and S's, an excessive force incident, which includes an attempt to repeatedly fracture my skull, pepper spray directly into my eyes, and an attempt to blind me as a form of harassment. 4 drive-by shootings at high speed on highways, an attempted explosion of my home followed by burn down, torching of my home to cover the fact that the foundation was cracked in the attempted explosion. The theft of my SUV was called into Whatcom County Sheriff's Office from the Bellington Department of Human Services in March 2012. The responding sheriff took extensive notes as I showed him original purchase paperwork, my original title and registration, and also temporary registration paperwork, my Allstate insurance card, and described the situation in detail. I told the sheriff I wanted J.R. Edwards charged with auto theft. I was given a card with the sheriff's name and case number for the theft incident and was told to call the Sheriff's Department for a copy of the report. The next day I requested an appointment with the county prosecutor and was denied an appointment by Monica, the prosecutor's receptionist. I walked to Bellingham City Hall to request assistance as an out-of-state resident in process of relocating to Washington State. City Hall receptionist stated that the Sheriff's Department had an issue and it did not affect them in the City Hall, and they would offer no assistance. I called the Linden Police Department, Linden Mayor's Office, Governor's Office, and was finally told to call the Department of Licensing. The Department of Licensing stated that my
30
car
seconds,
was sold
please.
by Edwards.
Sorry, you have 30 seconds left.
for $7,200, and I was due an overpayment of $5,600. The FBI and the Crime Victims Assistance of Seattle investigated the auto theft and stated it was a local issue and they provide no assistance. Basically, the issue came to the Justice Department. They stated they're guilty of racial discrimination and not taking cases for white persons. So they state they're the guilty parties and not prosecuting the criminals in my case. It was brought to U.S. prosecutors in Seattle, Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio. They all stated my complaint was valid, and the evidence that was taken to my car is of historical importance in the support of white people's civil rights. So this is why the issue has been brought again to the prosecutor's office. And again, on September 30th, I was again denied an appointment with the prosecutor by Monica. She threatened to call the police. If I would not leave, I said, fine, I'll leave, but I need an appointment.
Thank you, ma'am. Your time is up.
Okay, very serious issue, and again, of historical importance.
Is there anybody else who wishes to speak on the open public session? Seeing none, we'll close the open public session. And first up is the Finance Committee report and the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have 6 items on the consent agenda this evening, and the Finance Committee voted unanimously in favor of all 6, and I would so move.
So we have a motion to move approval. Do we have a second? Second. That's moved approval by Mr. Buchanan and second by Mr. Mann. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favour say aye. Aye.
Aye.
That passes 4-0. Any other items from Finance?
Yes, we had 2 other items. The first item was a request authorization for approval of the Port of Bellingham's request for EDI funding in the amount of $3 million, as recommended by the EDI Board, for the support of the All-American Marine Expansion Projects as a loan in the amount of $2 million and a grant in the amount of $1 million. We had a great presentation this morning, as you all know. The committee voted 3-0 to approve, and I so move.
Do we have a second? I'll second that. Mr. Mann, Mr. Buchanan moves. Mr. Mann seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
That passes 4-0.
The second item was a resolution authorizing the allocation of REIT, which is Real Estate Excise Tax, 1, funding to support the construction of a multi-use building expansion at the East Whatcom Regional Resource Center. The committee voted 3-0, and I to approve, and I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
That passes 4-0. The next item is a report from Public Works.
This is a resolution authorizing the allocation. Oops, I'm on the wrong one. Resolution in the matter of considering a vacation for the realignment of an unnamed valley within Birch Bay West End Estates plat. Basically, all this is doing is realigning a right-of-way that's there, because the right-of-way that people are using was not actually the legal right-of-way. So now it'll be the legal right-of-way that was worked on with our staff and with the neighbors who live there. So this came forward with a 2-0 recommendation for approval, and I so move.
So it's been moved for approval. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
That's been moved by Ms. Brenner and seconded by Mr. Mann. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 4-0. The next item was a resolution requesting the county executive to develop a spreadsheet model, but I think we're going to, at least I'm proposing that we defer that till the next council meeting, as I think it's something that should be discussed in front of the full council.
Actually, that was deleted. We got a thing from the...
Okay, that's fine. So we don't need to make a motion for that, do we? No, fine. All right, the next item is...
deleted too.
The next item was deleted as well. Do I need to make mention? Yeah, okay. The next item is a council appointments to boards and commissions and committees, a nomination and appointment to fill vacancies on the Wildlife Advisory Committee. Various positions. Applicants are Barry Wenger, Christopher Kazima, Vicky Jackson, John McLaughlin, Frank Bobb, Greg Dunfrey, Wendy Harris, Fenny Yarborough, Joel Ingram, and Michael P. Williams, and Paul A. Woodcock. Do I have a motion to?
I'll move to approve, but we got a note from Jill Nixon today saying that Greg Dunphy wants to only be an alternate, and that if that was to be considered, it probably should be done by the committee once they have their first meeting.
All right. Do I need a second to put these on the table? I do.
Well, I'll second it.
Yeah, that's fine. Seconded by Mr. Mann.
I'm all over this.
Mr. Mann.
Can we, so there's 11 slots on this committee. There are 11 applicants. Are there any geographical limitations or technical specifications that we're supposed to have allocated, or can all 11 fill the 11 slots?
So 4 of the 11 positions were intended to be filled later from, and I can't remember the exact definition, but the first 7 were defined as people who had specific professional expertise in wildlife or habitat.
So we need to choose 7 out of the 11.
7 that have the level of, have professional qualifications in the area. And I went through the list, and most of them do. In fact, I just want to compliment that we've been exceptionally fortunate in the people who've stepped forward. And I think the community is very well served by these people who volunteered. Of the people that have stepped forward, the following names, I read through their resumes. Wenger, Jackson, Bob, McLaughlin, Dunphy, Yarnborough, Ingram, Williams, and Woodcock all have professional qualifications that meet the requirement of the ordinance. And it was Dunphy, wasn't it, Ms. Brenner?
Yeah.
So Dunphy had offered to withdraw at this point in time and be an alternate. So that really leaves us 8 out of the 7 that meet the criteria and are willing to serve at this point.
Wait, 8 out of the 7?
Sorry, 8 out of the 11 are both qualified, meet the qualifications, and are willing to serve. Because Dunphy wanted to serve as an alternate.
Okay, so which ones are you saying are not qualified?
That's a harder.
Oh, yeah, so just read it off again.
So the list that is qualified
Weimer.
is Wenger, Jackson, Bob, McLaughlin, Yarnborough, Ingram, Williams, and Woodcock, which is 7. Oh, sorry, 8. Yeah, and we need to find 7 at this point.
1, 2, 3.
So we only need 7.
Could you say that one more time,
Okay.
please?
The ones that are qualified and able to want to serve in the primary roles are Wenger, Jackson, Bob, McLaughlin, Yarnborough, Ingram, and Williams.
You said Woodcock, too.
And Woodcock.
So Williams was the one
yeah,
we didn't have.
yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask if our staff has any information about that? Because it's not in here, and I'm just going from memory about the different slots we're supposed to have and everything.
The original ordinance that was adopted was to appoint the scientific 7 first, but we decided to shorten the whole time frame for the ordinance for 1 year and appoint them all at the same time. So there are 11 open spots right now. At least 7 have to have the scientific requirements.
And then the other 4 can be citizens of any qualification.
Yes.
Well, actually, if I remember, because Barry and I were involved in the original drafting, and the intent was certainly to use this, to have the 7 to do the scientific portion first, and then they 4 were to be engaged from a broader base of the business community or the farming community or whatever, the people who would have to be interact with the findings of the committee and to build overall consensus.
I remember though the way Jill explained it, that we did at a later meeting before we finalized it, we did say that we were going to do the whole 11.
That's what I thought.
And they were going to be able to sort out from a subcommittee kind of scenario in their own advisory committee, that they would have 7 scientific advisor types and then the 4 people that would additionally be on the committee.
Ms. Brenner.
Could we make a motion to hold this again? It just seems like, because I had the same impression that Councilmember Buchanan did, but Councilmember Browne may be correct. You know,
We've got some time.
So the membership shall consist of 11 members. 7 of the 11 members will have technical expertise, and the entire committee shall serve until July 31st, 2016. So what you're recalling, Councilmember Browne, is correct in the first version of the ordinance, but that ordinance was amended to shorten the time frame and sunset this committee and its work July 31st, 2016. So the council elected just to appoint everyone at once.
Well, certainly what was in my mind when we were crafting this was to have the technical committee to build up the body of expertise, the technical expertise, and then to find a way to engage the broader community to build consensus. So with the ag community, the forestry community, developers, etc. It wasn't to sort of say open it up just to general citizens, because at the end of the day, we had to. The findings of the committee, in my mind, were of limited value unless it could be then translated into building consensus amongst the rest of the community who may feel that they're impacted by a new set of recommendations or regulations. So
I don't think we're here to amend the ordinance.
No, but I'm saying that was my
interpretation.
So my only concern is I'm personally supportive of doing the 7 technical members now, but I wanted to give more thought before we appoint the other 4.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
We're not obligated to.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
And in fact, maybe make it as a motion, is that we appoint the 7 technical members now and we defer the other 4 members until a later meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay. So my motion is that we.
Do we have a motion already or no?
No,
We had,
we didn't.
well, we had a Councilmember Brenner. No, you put forward a motion.
Oh, yeah.
To.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. So I'm making a motion to that we appoint the 7 technical committee members now, and we hold until a later date. Do we have to give you a date certain? No. Well, we haven't appointed the 7 yet. We're just agreeing that we're only going to limit it to appointing the 7. Right. So my motion is that we agree to appoint the 7 technical committee members now and defer to a later date the appointment of the remaining 4.
And I second that.
Okay. All in favour of that motion? Sorry, discussion?
So is your expectation then that a different group of people will apply for those remaining 4 slots?
Yes.
And that the people who are interested in this committee from the other sort of disciplines that you mentioned didn't apply because they thought this was only the technical part of the application process?
That is my understanding. And we have not done the phase of inviting the broader community, such as the agricultural community or the forestry or the commercial interests that are impacted by recreational communities and environmental. Well,
okay.
All right. Anything else?
I'd just rather do it tonight, but I understand your concern. I'm going to respect that and go along with your proposal.
All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
That amendment passes 4-0. We're now left with choosing 7 out of the, 7 out of the 8 that are qualified and wish to serve at this time.
So I do have to, I'm not trying to be annoying or anything, but the 8, you're saying you've screened for
7.
being Well, no, 8, you're saying.
7 positions.
7 positions, and you're saying there's 8 that meet your criteria for being technically experts.
I read through each of the applications,
Yeah.
and there was a total of 9, one of which who's withdrawn and prefers to be an alternate, who in their application demonstrate that they have qualifications in the field
Right.
as defined in the ordinance. Because we define, what was the qualifications required?
So this wasn't a judgment call. I mean,
No,
this
it's
is
just-
clear. Okay, that's all I was getting
Yeah.
at. Okay,
And
fine.
what was the?
Fine. I believe I'm good with that.
No, but I just want to verify what was the requirement.
7 of the 11 members will have technical expertise in wildlife and habitat management or current or past professional experience such as, but not limited to, at least one of the following: wetlands manager, wildlife biologist, population biologist, natural resources manager, watershed scientist, conservation specialist, forestry protection, and tribal representative.
Right. So when I went through the resumes, each of those 9 people, at least on their resume, I'm taking them at face value.
Sure.
9 people presented themselves as having the qualifications that met that criteria.
Gotcha. Okay, no, I'm satisfied. Just needed to check that.
And of the 9, Dunfrey has withdrawn.
He's out.
Right.
Gotcha. So we got 8 left.
Yeah. Can I make it more complex?
Well, it is hard when you're doing 7 people all at once. So okay.
So, as the at-large representative, indifferent to district, I would nominate all 8 for consideration. Do we need a second for that? So the 8 I nominate are Wenger, Jackson, Bob, McLaughlin, Yarborough, Ingram, Williams, and Woodcock. I think I need a second for that.
Oh, I'll second you.
Mr. Buchanan seconds it. There's perhaps an easy way to do it, which is not really like doing this, but there's perhaps an easy way of doing this is say, which one don't you do?
Yeah, I know. That's what
That's
I was
not
thinking
very
too.
nice.
No, I know, that's why I don't like that idea.
That doesn't play very well.
No.
No.
Why don't you
Yep.
move?
Yeah.
So you've nominated all 8, and it was seconded.
Yes.
Barry Buchanan,
Wenger, Jackson, Bob, McLaughlin, Yarborough, Ingram, and Williams.
Ken Mann,
Wenger, Jackson, McLaughlin, Bob, Yarborough, Ingram, Williams.
Rud Browne,
Wenger, Jackson, Bob, McLaughlin, Yarborough, Ingram, and Williams.
Barbara Brenner,
Winger, Jackson, McLaughlin, Bob, Ingram, Williams, and Woodcock.
Okay. So we're off by 1.
That's okay. We can
No, I know, I just thought.
face off.
Yeah. All right, how do you suggest we deal with this?
Tiebreaker.
Well, we've got, so the Wenger, Jackson, Bob, McLaughlin, Yarborough, and Ingram appear to have got 4 votes. Correct?
Mm-mm.
It was Williams and Woodcock that didn't get 4 votes.
No, I think it was, wait a minute. I think you're right. Okay.
So that leaves us with Williams and Woodcock. Do we want to start, you want to call the roll again on that?
Williams,
Ken Mann,
Williams.
Rud Browne,
Williams.
Barbara Brenner,
Woodcock. He's good.
Oh, they're all good.
I
They're
know,
all
but
good.
They're absolutely
I
good.
want, he's, yeah.
May I just propose a suggestion?
What?
Can we all just spend a minute, look at both of those resumes again, and then just before we do the next call?
I agree.
Yeah, I think I'd love to have both of them.
I just,
And I'd also point out, I mean, I made a personal note here that I thought Woodcock would make a good alternate, which would be up to the committee if they wanted to.
What was his technical expertise? made him in the final 8. His BS?
I can't remember. Well, I can tell you why I chose Williams, is because he has a PhD in botany, an MS in botany, and a BA in botany. And he was I think he was a professor at botany. So he's got a very deep professional knowledge and a doctorate in the area. And he's got, looks like he's been published in something like 50 different publications. Yes.
Well, I have an idea, because Paul could actually be in another category too. That could work out. And not at this moment, but yeah. So if you guys will consider him
Oh, absolutely.
in the other categories,
Yeah, absolutely.
Williams does have great credentials.
Right.
So
So
I can
we
do
have-
that.
Sorry. Do you have what you need? Yes. Okay. So then, so that looks like we have 7 members who've been approved, and those members are Wenger, Jackson, Bob, McLaughlin, Yarbrough, Ingram, and Williams. And I just wanted to thank, on behalf of the council, all the applicants for this. We had a truly outstanding batch of people apply this time.
Agreed.
All right. Next item up is introduction items.
I think there was
One more,
other
Glenn.
committee.
Oh, sorry, there is one more. There's a request for confirmation of the county executive's appointment of Paul Yaden to the Whatcom County Parks and Recreation Commission. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Mr. Buchanan moves approval, and Mann seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
That passes 4-0. And is there introduction items? Do I have a motion for the introduction items?
Move to introduce.
Mr. Buchanan moves for approval of introduction. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it, but yeah, I'll second it.
Okay.
And do we have a substitute version that came from? Okay, so I want to take out the resolution approving the Whatcom County Annual Construction Program and send that back to Committee of the Whole for 2 weeks from now.
So what you're actually doing is moving into approval for which items? You have to identify which introduction items you're moving.
Item number 3, I'm removing.
Okay, well, we have a motion to put all of them in.
I seconded that, and now I'm moving to remove number 3.
Does that work for you? Okay.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to remove number 3. All in favour of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
That passes 4-0. Now we have a motion to put the remaining 3 as introduction items. We've got that motion that's been approved. Seconded.
Yes.
All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
That passes as well. Right. And the one you were taking out was,
The construction program,
yeah, right, okay. Back to committee.
Committee of the Whole, in 2 weeks.
Okay, any other committee reports, other items, and council member updates?
Nothing here.
Nothing to report.
Is Brenner? Oh, this is going to be a world record, isn't it?
We should do this more often.
Just don't do any wildlife.
No personal updates? Any other items?
Life is good.
Anything else? Seeing none, we are adjourned.